Hello, 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 and good morning. It's good to be with you all this morning. Thank you for joining me for another episode of What She Said. So, today we're going to talk a little bit about leaving things in the past and how to walk away from things that just don't serve you anymore, things that don't benefit you. Uh, we have a tendency to sometimes, as humans, we don't often or always like change. But change is necessary for evolution. And in order for you to grow, you have to be willing to shed some things and to just free yourself of some things. And so today, let's talk a little bit about that. You know, because the platform of this show is from trauma to triumph. I'm going to, kind of walk in that vein a little bit and talk about how we can sometimes, I know for myself, we can get stuck and caught up in the bondage of things from the past. And we don't often realize how we stop ourselves from moving forward because we're just unwilling to look at ourselves, to look at our situations, to look at and deal with those things that have given us or just were bad experiences. And we kind of become comfortable and used to not being okay. And I say that because there are people who have become, maybe they had a lot of bad things happen to them in their lives, and they've become so accustomed to being hurt, being let down, or being abused that they just stay there because they feel like that's for them. That's all God has for them. But that's simply not true. You have to want to do the work to come out of that place. You can't stay in that place if you actively want to evolve. And you have to know that if you're anchored to the past, you're most certainly not going to move forward. And if one of those things that is anchoring you was a negative experience or a trauma or some sort of abuse, you are giving your abuser all of the power by holding yourself hostage and stagnant to their actions. You have to recognize the strength that lives in you. You have to recognize and tap into that courage that we are all hardwired with. That fight or flight works in so many different ways. You just really have to tap into it. So if you are in a moment and you have to choose between life or death, you're going to choose life when forced to do it. Just because your mental state does not make you feel like there's an urgency there, there is an urgency there. Because the longer you sit in that place, the more negativity and ill thoughts begin to take root in your mind, in your heart, and you'll start to just be pulled down and weighed down by those things. You know, let's take Lot's wife, for instance. And this is a biblical reference. The angels came down and advised Lot and his family, and his wife was clearly present for the conversation. And they told them that they needed to leave Sodom and Gomorrah. They needed to leave because of that. It was a, what was going on. It was just really a cesspool of just all kinds of things that shouldn't have been going on. Just all kinds of stuff. And they were advised to run, even taken by the hand, because God wanted to save their lives, to the point of the angels were willing to drag them out of danger so that they could move forward. And God had one simple request in order for them to just be safe. And as they were running, and God said, do not look back. She looked back and turned into a pillar of salt. How's that for not listening? If God has given you the grace to still be in the number on today, that means he has pulled you out of that thing. And he wants for you to run and keep going and don't look back. And although we're in a different, time and state, you may not turn into a pillar of salt, but you can turn into a pillar and pile of bitterness and despair and just broken and raggedy. And I don't believe that that's where anybody wants to stay. I think, down on the inside, you have this like nagging feeling to want to be happy, to want to be whole. You have to have days when you just want to smile and just be okay. But in order for you to get there, you're going to have to recognize and understand that the power in you, the gift and blessing that is you, because you survived. You lived to fight another day. You lived to fight another battle. You lived to overcome another hurdle. And a lot of times people overlook that fact. That's a fact. Those things that happened in your past didn't kill you. Those things that happened in your past didn't destroy you. They may have shaken you up a little bit, but you're still here. What are you going to do with it? Like, what are you going to do with your presence now that you have overcome and survived? And every battle leaves scars. And they will heal if you allow them. If you cut your finger, to wash the cut, to put peroxide on it, to put some Neosporin or bacitration on it, and maybe cover it so it doesn't get reopened and it doesn't get banged and, reopen and it doesn't heal. Well, you can apply that same theory to your emotional wounds. You have to heal. You have, and healing from an emotional wound, there's additional steps. You have to identify the hurt. You have to deal with that hurt and get to know and understand how it came about and how it affected you, and deal with those things. Forgive yourself. Forgive the aggressor, because not forgiving them is still holding you hostage to what they've done to you. That's a weight in your mind that you just don't need. Forgiveness is more for you than it is for the perpetrator. Because when you don't forgive somebody, you're hoarding anger, you're hoarding frustration. Those things affect you. That's on the inside of you. It's not affecting them. They're not the ones walking around feeling, guilt and shame and hurt. Those things are affecting you. Why do they get to be free and absolve themselves, and you're walking around with the weight of all the pain on your shoulders? No. You didn't do anything wrong. Free yourself, absolve yourself, forgive yourself, and stop hoarding and holding on to those negative feelings. You have to. Each and every one of us has a purpose here on this earth. Each one of us has our own innate desires to be something greater than ourselves. What stops us is the fear of, I'm not good enough. I'm not capable enough. Will they receive me? Who's going to understand? Who will listen to me? There is somebody out there who needs to hear from you. You are not alone in your situation. And I've said this before. You are not unique in your traumas, but you're unique in your survival. And that is what's going to help someone else to come out of their situation. People want to hear from you. People need to hear from you in many different ways. Maybe you're not a person who does public speaking. Maybe you're not a person who is good with sharing and you know things of that nature. That's okay. That's okay. There's things that you can do um, to be of service. Tap into that nagging, that small still voice, that calling down on the inside of you, and listen to that. Develop whatever it is. Some people they like to cook, and that's their love language. That's their healing. For me, when I'm stressed or having a bad day, I cook. Oh, I cook. My family eats like it restaurant style, because the kitchen is one of my outlets. It's one of my happy places. I go in that kitchen and I just cook because it makes me feel better. I don't know why, but it just makes me feel better. Um, Music, writing, reading, um, mentor someone, but you got to heal first. You have to make sure that you are completely healed before you go and put your hands on somebody else in that manner, because you don't want to bleed all over them. But find the thing that makes you you, and that you can be of service, for. And don't discount what you're already doing. If you're a mother, you're a wife, you're an employee, you are already in the midst of doing something. Our children are our first ministry. We are nurturing them. We are educating them. We are the first people to teach them life skills. That that's important. Do not discount the fact that you run a household, that you're somebody's wife. Being a wife is a job. You are a support. You're a counselor. You're a friend. You're a lover. Everything that your spouse needs in that moment is what you are when they need you to be it. And that's important. So don't discount the things that you're already doing. Don't discount the strength that's already in you, and you're utilizing it every day, and you're overlooking it because you feel like it's not big enough. It's not about the size of your service. It's about your service. And make sure that the service that you are providing are services that are comfortable and make you happy. You're not just being of service to please everyone else. Because at the end of the day, you have to lay down with that body. You have to wake up with that body. You have to live with your thoughts, and you need to be pleased with you. There is gifts and beauty on the inside of each and every one of us. You just have to learn to love all of those things about you. And when you get to that place, nothing can hold you back. Tap into you, but you have to leave the past in the past in order to move forward. Don't get stuck there. I cannot stress that enough, because I was one of those people. And your past will tie you up. If you need to say it out loud, say it out loud. Stop putting other people's feelings ahead of your own, and know and understand that your feelings matter. And the people that genuinely love you and care for you and want to see you win are going to be there after the bullet has already left the gun. A lot of times we don't activate ourselves because we are afraid of the outcome. Stop operating in fear. Step out on faith and believe that God is going to do it. And if he gave it to you, he's going to qualify you and give you the skills you need to do it. Take a chance on you. If you've spent your whole life taking a chance on everybody else and sowing into everybody else and giving to everybody else, at some point, you're going to have to step out on faith and have enough faith in God and in you. Step out on you. Gamble on you. If you want to get up every day and roll the dice, roll them on you. And you'll be surprised what the return will be. Sometimes we have to invest in us. We have to invest in ourselves. We have to encourage ourselves. The best motivator is you. You just don't know that yet. You have to just know and understand that there is purpose in your presence. And you have to accept that and not allow what everyone else says or feels, or what you think they may say or feel, hold so much weight in your mind and in your heart. Know that you're worth it. Know that you're important. And you can literally accomplish anything you want to if you put your mind to it. You know, determination is a heck of a drug. And when you are consumed with determination, you will fight to the finish. But you have to activate that thing. And know and understand that those things that happened to you, those things that you survived, were not your fault. You know, yes, there are some behaviors that we could change, but that doesn't give anyone the right to violate us, to take advantage of us, to abuse us in any way, shape, or form. It just doesn't give anyone the right to do that. And we have to get away from just being ashamed and settling for being a victim. Because we're so much more than the things that we have survived. We're bigger than that. And those things that we survived actually help to build us up in character and strength because you survived it. And no one understands that there's somebody who didn't. There's somebody who literally lost their mind in the midst of that tragedy or that trauma. There's someone who lost their life in the midst of that tragedy or trauma. There's somebody who surrendered to the pain and just gave up. And they're, hiding and shying away from life right now because of that trauma or tragedy. And you did not. So that speaks volumes to your desire to do more than survive, but to live. You have to want to live, and you have to fight to live. Find resources, do research, and just talk about it. We have to get away from this not being able to comfortably speak about you without shame. Things happen. Life happens. Life is a mess. Ain't it? It's just terrible sometimes. We go through things and you get up one day and you think you're going to have a good day, and then, it all goes to hell in a handbasket with gasoline jars. And then you're like, okay, how am I going to get myself out of this one? But it happens. And we can't beat ourselves up for the things that happen. We can't beat ourselves up for the things that we just had no control over. And stop living. You deserve to live. Speak life over you. Speak healing over you. Speak wholeness over you. If nobody else does, you better do it. You can't, your happiness cannot be hinged on what someone else can do for you. Your happiness relies in you. Your ability to be happy lies in you. And you have to activate that. You have to push for it. You have to know and learn to value you. And no matter what that looks like, you just can't hold on to, those things because they don't mean you any good. Our imperfections are what makes us perfectly imperfect. Those things kind of build character in us. Um, and they don't make you, they can't really make or break you unless you allow them to. Um, and you have to be smart enough, willing enough, and brave enough to walk away from things that no longer serve you. If something does not bring um, goodness, positivity, if it doesn't build you up and all it's doing is breaking you down, then that means you need to let it go. That means you need to separate yourself and let it go. Be okay with letting things go, letting people go, letting places go, and letting things go. Because if it's not adding value to your life, it is devaluing your life. You know, when you drive off the car lot with that car, it depreciates in value as soon as you pull off. So, as soon as those negative words leave that person's mouth, there's the devalue. The question is, how far are you going to drive this negative vehicle, or allow it to drive you before you say, you know what, I don't need this, and you're going to let it go. Don't be afraid to let people go. The world is full of people. It's billions of us on the face of this planet. Be okay with creating new connections, connections that suit your next level, connections that suit your new level. See, those old connections might have been great for where you were, but they may not be great for where you're going. And so that's okay. That doesn't mean it has to be, a negative thing. It just means that you are opening yourself up to new divine connections that are going to help you transition into the next level of your life. But you have to be open to it. You have to be okay with it. Don't don't be so stuck in, because that's me, and I'm talking about me. I like routine. I'm not a person who cares for change, because that's my safe space. But in this season, I'm learning that I can't always play it so close to the vest. I can't always play it safe. I'm going to have to take some chances. And that includes taking chances on people and new relationships and new friendships and new situationships, in all areas, of my life, other than my husband. And even for us, our relationship evolves. We take chances on us, because we want to fall in love with each other every day. And so there's new things, and that we have to embark on to ensure new levels of intimacy, new levels of conversation, transparency, hearing one another new every day, so that we can move forward, because what served our relationship in the past may not be what's going to serve us today. So we have to try something new. We'll be married 10 years. Glory be to God. On May 3rd. So in every area of your life, there has to be a new. And as a person who don't like new, I don't like change. I'm comfortable with my routine. That is something that I myself have had to adjust to, and be open to. You have to be open to it, because again, you can't keep holding on to things that are holding you back and holding you down. If it's not pushing you forward and propelling you up, then you need to let it go, because that's how you should be moving. You should be evolving into your best self, into your higher self, into your greatest self. Because again, there's greatness that lives in you. You may just need the right people, places, and things around you to activate that and propel you into your greatness. The grief process. When we lose people, we get stuck there. Don't understand. And I'm literally just walking out of the grieving process myself. Um, you love them for the life and times that you had them. It gets easier as the days go on for some. Um, but you didn't die with them. And you have to look at it from their perspective. Would they want you to have to stay in that place? No, because they loved you and they wanted you to be happy, and they wouldn't want anything they've done or gone through to make you unhappy. Yes, you miss them. That's natural. But you can't get so stuck in the grieving process that you cease to live, because there's a reason why you're still here. There's a reason why um, it wasn't your time to go. And so you can honor them by carrying out their legacy, by ensuring that generations and generations and generations know about them. But don't get stuck in grieving them, because then you cease to live. And how can you honor them if you're not living? The best thing we can do for our lost loved ones is to honor them and celebrate their life, not dwell on their death. Um, you just, that is something that is just so touchy, again, even for me, but it's something that you just don't want to get stuck in. You don't want to, because then you can't evolve and you can't grow. And the goal is to grow. Um, don't get stuck in the fact that you had a bad relationship or even a few. It happens. Growing pains. Kiss some frogs before you get to the prince. I've heard people say, yeah, that's not a good analogy. But if you, you learn from the mistakes of the past, or the missteps. They're not mistakes, they're learning curves. And you take the lesson from those bad relationships. And so now you know what you don't want in your next relationship, or, in your forever relationship. And so don't get stuck in the bad relationship or relationships. So what? You have multiple. Big deal. It happens. Again, life can be messy, but you don't let the mess define you, and you don't stay in the mess. You turn that mess into a message. And you move forward, because again, be okay with things happening. Um, Life is unscripted. There's no, we weren't born with directions. We do have, an idea of morally how we should be, but there's no directions. There's no right or wrong answer for living. You find your way and you figure it out, and you have to figure out what best suits you, and not what best suits somebody else or anybody else around you. We make that mistake as well. We look at people around us and we're like, oh, well, she's got it all together, so I just want to be like that. But you don't know that she has it all together. You know what she's allowing you to know. You see what she's allowing you to see. You don't know what's really going down on what's going on, down on the inside of her. You don't know what her daily struggles and battles are. You don't know the things that concern her. You don't know the things that her fears, her, wants and desires that are down on the inside. So you can't compare apples to oranges. Find your rhythm. March to the beat of your own drum. That's because you're supposed to, because you're a unique person and a unique individual. We cannot be carbon copies of one another. The world would be quite boring in black and white. And that's whack. We like the color of unique and different, and different personalities and different characteristics. It makes the world interesting. It adds some entertainment value, though. Some really colorful characters in this world. But could you just imagine all of us walking around the same? Yeah, that would be like watching paint dry. So be the color. Be the color in a black and white world. Be different. Be you. Be okay with you. Let the past go. Let the past be the past. Tap into you. Leave and let go of things that don't serve you in a positive way. Um, don't get don't get trapped in there. If something is not adding value to your life, I'm going to say it again. If it's not adding value, then it is devaluing and taking away from. You don't let anybody take anything from you. Now, if you want to give it, that's something different. But don't allow anyone to take anything from you. And that includes your joy, your happiness, your ability to love, your ability to grow, your ability to evolve, and your ability to be you. Don't let anyone take that from you. You don't have to. I hope you enjoyed today's conversation. I thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for joining me on my journey from trauma to triumph. To wholeness, from healing to wholeness. I, this is new for me. And again, I'm not telling you anything that I'm not going through myself. I am learning that the value in me as I walk through this. I am learning to let go of things that don't bring value to my life. I am learning to put me and my feelings first because I matter. I am important. And the things that I'm not going to just sit and settle for things that hurt me to please everyone else any longer. I'm choosing to be happy, and I'm choosing me. I'm opening myself up to divine connections, and I'm here for it. I'm here for what the future holds for me. And I'm believing God and believing me. I'm taking a gamble on me in this season. And I invite you to do the same for you because you are worth it. And although it can be very scary and uncomfortable, change is not something that comes about easily, but it's necessary for evolution. And you're simply worth it. I love you. God loves you. Um, Remember, the sun rises every day alone, but she still manages to shine. The moon rises every night alone, but still manages to light someone's way in the dark. Be someone's light in the dark place. Be your own light in a dark place. Um, and launch the vision. Move forward and launch the vision. I cannot wait to see what this season brings. For all of us. I'm just excited for that. The She Said podcast is now available on all digital platforms. Check it out. Um, it's, you can either watch me here or listen to it on my podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. For updates on events and programs and my forthcoming book, She Emerged, the manifestation of me, should be dropping June of 2021. You can follow my journey on my page. My website is www.savedhealedenough.com and on all social media platforms. Join me on my journey. Follow me. If you have a business you want me to promote, shout out. If you're, send me an email about your services. I will showcase you on my website for our sister spotlight, where I promote, small businesses and your services. If you need help, outreach, anything that I could be of service, reach out, let me know. I'm excited for what the future holds. And I can't stress that you matter. You matter, you matter, you matter. Your voice matters. Your triumphs are your triumphs. And your trials don't define you. Love you with the love of Christ, and I will catch you all later.